What's going on, y'all? Chuck Nunface here. Going to take a look at a couple of fixed blade knives from TRC. TRC is a company based in Lithuania. They've been putting out knives for over 10 years now, and this is a couple of their most popular models, the TRC South Pole and the TRC K-1S. Both are made of LMAX steel, hardened to about, I believe, 61 to 63, somewhere in that neighborhood. I can't remember off the top of my head, but and these knives are just really, really well made. These are the only two knives that I've experienced from that company, but they have several, and I definitely wouldn't hesitate to pick up another TRC. But to kind of backpedal a little bit here, or to rewind a little bit, I got both of these knives fairly close together. I got them, towards the end of last year, and I knew in getting these that ultimately I would only be keeping one. They are fairly similar. There's not a whole lot of differences. It's just a matter of philosophy of use and how I'm going to be carrying it and everything else. Where I wanted to experience both of them, but I knew going into it that I was going to only end up keeping one. And the knife that really drew me to TRC initially was the South Pole. I remember seeing pictures of it on Instagram and just being really drawn to it and just saying, what knife is that? Now, historically, I haven't been a huge fan of fixed blades, but I'm kind of or I shouldn't say fan, I haven't been a huge user of fixed blades. And it hasn't really captivated my interest all that much. But it's definitely something that's been changing over the last several months, and I've been exploring fixed blades more than folders lately. So, the K1, or not the K-1S, but the South Pole was the one that really kind of captivated me initially. And kind of going back a little bit, the South Pole was initially called the TRC K1, and so the K1 was then changed their name to the South Pole, and then a smaller version of the South Pole was the K1, or the K1 was the K1S or K1 small. So when they introduced that, they're essentially the same knife. It's just reduced in size a little bit. I would say this one's probably 15 to 20% smaller, something like that. I will go over dimensions real quick too here. We've got an overall length on the South Pole of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9.25, 9.5 inches almost, and an overall length of just right even at 8.5 inches on the K1S. Blade length on the South Pole, and we're going to do it from right here to here, is going to be about 4 inches with a cutting edge of about 3 3/4 inches. Blade length on the K1S is going to be 4 inches with a cutting edge of about 3.37 or 3 3/4 inches, 3.5 inches, something like that. So yeah, they're very close in size, at least in blade length. Now I want to kind of do a little bit of a dimensional thing right here. So you can see, obviously, on the right-hand side here, the South Pole is thicker and rounder, a little more hand-filling all the way around, and the K1S, or the South Pole Junior, is a little bit thinner in the grip. That's kind of how their profiles stack up with each other right there. So they're really not that far off from each other at all as far as, carry profiles and everything else. Now, kind of going into this, the South Pole really captivated me, and it was something that I really wanted to check out. But then I was also thinking, I was wanting a fixed blade for pocket carry. And I'd had some that were definitely within that range of pocket carry with the SPK Shark and the Creeley Mako. And so I was just looking to maybe kind of go along those lines as well. I knew full well that this was probably not going to be something that was going to be a pocket carry candidate. It's going to be just a little bit too big for that, with that, over 9 inches overall. We'll go ahead and do a couple, since, I do a lot of folding reviews and things like that. I'll just do some size comparisons with some common folders. There is the Ontario Rat 1. All right. And we'll go ahead and also put on the Buck 110. So a couple of knives that are not small, right there. Buck 110, Ontario Rat 1. And we'll go ahead and kind of take a look look at the Emerson CQC8. Now the CQC8 obviously that's a big knife. It's almost the same size as the South Pole when it's fully deployed, but of course pocket profile is going to be a lot different. So yeah, I knew initially that I was only going to end up keeping one, and I was kind of gravitating towards something. As much as I love the look of the South Pole, I was kind of gravitating towards something that would be a little bit more pocket friendly. But I ended up picking up both, so that was kind of a long roundabout way of saying that I ended up picking both. But ultimately, I ended up settling on one. All right, and you know the reasons being, I ended up actually settling on the K-1S. And I kind of knew initially that I was going to be keeping that one. And so even when I got it, I had it shipped directly to Oak City Leather to have this awesome leather pocket sheet made for it. Now this was one that he hadn't offered on his site before, and so he did up a prototype. I had it sent to him and he did up a prototype. And so this was the first one, and he's got the template now, and now it's a regular offering on his site. So go ahead and check out Oak City Leather. You know, if you're thinking about getting a TRC or K-1S and you want to pocket carry it, and you can just order it directly off his site. He's sold several of them at this point, which is really cool. So I feel good that I might have had something to do with that. But you know, they come with really good sheaths. You know, they do. A lot of times with fixed blade, the sheath will just be an afterthought. But with TRC, they actually do a really good job. I mean, this Kydex sheath is really well done for the South Pole. It pops right in, it snaps in, it pops out. It's just really nice. It's got this dangler style attachment. You can, you know, adjust it and however you want to carry it. By default, it goes up a little higher. I ended up just dropping it down a little lower. I kind of liked it, you know, at that angle on my hip. And, you know, the sheath on the K-1S is a little bit simpler. It's not a pull the dot, but it just got that polymer, whatever that is, plastic loop that you would just thread your belt through. You could definitely, you know, do a pull the dot or something like that if you want to have this on inside the waistband carry. There's ways you could certainly make that work on this. Of course, you could do it on this as well. But as it is right now, it would be set up for outside the waistband. You could certainly do scout carry on either one of these, where you can get some straps and have them wrap around, and you can just carry it horizontally on your belt. You can certainly do something like that. So, but yeah, the point is these are actually really good sheaths that it ships with. But for me, what I wanted to do is I wanted to pocket carry it, so I ended up having that right there. You know, and that kind of just really is what drove me to make my ultimate decision to keep the K-1S. They're both just fantastic knives. I really do love both of them. I love that apocalyptic finish. You, of course, can get it in satin finish as well. You don't have to get that. Their belt satin looks really good. I've never seen one in person, but I've seen them in pictures on Instagram and in YouTube videos and things like that. So their satin finish looks really good, but you know, something about the apocalyptic finish just really speaks to me. I've always kind of loved that. When Medford does their Vulcan finish, you know, I really just, I like that heat treat kind of natural finish that when it comes out of the heat treating oven and everything else, sometimes it'll take on those qualities. The LMAX steel on these are great. This one is still on the factory edge. I really haven't done much with this one. Just carried it a little bit. This one I've carried in my pocket quite a bit. It has become, honestly, it's become my most favorite EDC. I'd rather carry this right now, at least in January 2023. I'd rather be carrying this than almost any of my folders at this point. I just really love having this in the pocket. And there's something to be said as just having one solid piece of steel in your hand instead of having, you know, a folder. I mean, obviously I'm not going to go away from folders, you know, but you know, just having this in my pocket is just, I'd almost rather carry that than just about anything else. You know, and there was so much similar with these two knives. Now, admittedly, I really do like the way this feels in the hand, the South Pole. I like the way it feels in hand a little bit better than I like the way the K-1S. It's a little bit meatier. You know, it kind of fills the hand a little bit more, and I really like that. Whereas this one is a little thinner. It's not uncomfortable by any stretch. That micarta, texture of micarta is just awesome. It's awesome on both. This one is more of just kind of a checkered pattern, and this one is more of like a pyramid it's got, you know, more points on it, while this one is more of just like a hash pattern right there. So yeah, this one, they both feel great in the hand. This one does feel a little bit better, but I'm willing to sacrifice that little bit better grip to kind of have this knife right here that's going to be something that I want to carry in my pocket on a regular basis. You know, you are going to have some knives sticking out of your pocket. There's no way around that. I mean, if you're wearing pants, you put it in your pockets like that, you're going to have a couple of inches of a knife sticking out. You know, for some people, that might be a problem. For me, it's not. I don't mind it at all. If it is, I mean, you can always, if you're wearing, you know, your typical jeans, you can usually, your pockets are deep enough where you can kind of just drop it in, barely have anything sticking out of your pocket. But your mileage may vary. For me, I don't find it to be a problem. You may, you know, think otherwise, but, you know, it's going to be different for everyone. And, you know, then lastly, these knives being so similar in profile, you know, this one isn't particularly like, you know, hard use or anything like that, or heavy duty. You know, the grind isn't really, you know, it's just got a standard V edge or something like that. I mean, it's a fairly common, you could certainly put a different grind on there, a different edge. You can convex it if you wanted to do anything like that. But there wasn't really anything this could do so much better than this. It just adds a little bit of extra length. And so, you know, it really just led me even more to believe that, you know, the K-1S is going to be the right one. If I want a different type of fixed blade, you know, I could do something like the Bark River Aurora, as, you know, a belt knife. So that's the term I'm looking for, is belt knife, pocket knife, belt knife, belt knife. So I can definitely carry this in my pocket, but something like these, either one of these, the Aurora or the South Pole, I'm going to be carrying in on my belt. And so I really didn't see the reason to kind of keep both. So if you want to see more of this knife in particular, go ahead and follow Mitch Bowling's channel. Fellow YouTuber Mitch Bowling, he has picked up this one from me, so this is going to be going off to him tomorrow, which kind of forced my hand and made me shoot this video today, because even though I knew I was going to be sending it to him, I kind of forgot about it, and well, the time to ship it over to him has come, and so I'm going to be getting this off to him tomorrow, so I wanted to go ahead and shoot this video tonight. That is going to do it for me. I certainly do appreciate you checking it out. If you are still here, go ahead and please, if you don't mind, click that subscribe button right there in the corner. I would definitely appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. Leave a comment. What do you think about EDCing fixed blades? Is that something you do regularly? Do you think I made the right choice in keeping the K-1S over the South Pole, or do you think I'm nuts? You know, knowing the reasons that I kind of laid out in this video. Let me know what you think. Give me a follow on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface. Go ahead and subscribe to Mitch Bowling's channel. I'm sure he'll be doing something on this. He's got great content over there anyway. And stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Peace.